It's Metalheads Radio live on the final day of this year's Hard Rock Hell. Pleased to say we've got the two Lees from Ryders Creed.
Indeed.
Hello. How are you guys? How are you?
Yeah, very well.
Right?
How are you?
Yeah, not so bad.
Good.
Did you set earlier on this afternoon? How did it go?
Well, the response from the crowd, they were very loud, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
We enjoyed the set.
Yeah.
Good turnout.
Just comes and goes so quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
To the next gig.
Exactly. Yeah. What is the next gig then?
Tomorrow in Blackpool.
Waterloo?
Supporting, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Supporting Massive.
Yeah.
Blackpool, yeah. Which should
Yeah.
be really
That's
well.
the next one.
When the guys are here, are they on today?
I think they're on today.
They're on
Yeah,
today.
they
at
are,
some
aren't they?
point,
Yeah. Did you do any acoustic stuff? I knew you have done acoustic stuff in
We,
the past, but
Not
it was
today.
just an
We
all-out.
were questioned. We had the offers to do an acoustic set today, sort of 10:30 in the morning or whatever. But the band sort of beat us to it. We couldn't confirm in time, so.
It's a shame, but...
Which is a shame, but it doesn't really matter. It's,
You can drop some into
we
tomorrow
did our
night.
main set, and we
We just went balls to the wall on our set and,
everything
went
we
really
could.
well, really well. The
That's
crowd.
Cast your minds back to Sheffield and Battle of the Bands.
Yes,
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 Boys are
yes.
Hell, yeah.
I was there
Just
that night
over a
watching
year
that.
ago.
Yeah, it was an amazing
Oh,
night that was.
we went into that not thinking of that result.
I don't think anybody would.
No.
Privately, you hope.
Especially considering at that point we'd only really been a band for 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months.
And we'd sort of entered that just hoping that, an excess of few people might pick up on our name.
Yeah.
We might get our name out to a few little industry professionals or whatever. And we never really expected at the end of the night to be stood there on the stage receiving the award for the night, and
It was great.
and taking that. So that happened, and then very quickly we had to put an album together.
Yeah.
As I say, we'd only been a band for 3 or 4 months previous to that, and we'd only knocked out really a couple of tunes, nowhere near an album's worth.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, and we got the award for that, it was a case of
Right, here we go.
right, here we go.
Serious
Let's
writing sort of
get
thing.
some
Yeah.
serious writing involved.
Yeah.
Let's
And
ride the wave and see.
And
what
that
happens.
happened for really it was over 7 months, but it didn't really happen until 3 months before the album was released, when we got a 3-month mark where we're like, okay, we've got to get serious here, we've got to pull our shit together essentially, and so we did that, and there's one track in particular that will always spring out to my mind on the album is My Life, and because we'd gone into our lock-up the day before we were due to record the album with one song missing. We needed an extra song, and we were trying this other song, and it's still come to no fruition even today. This song, something about it just wasn't working. But in that same session, Miles started playing a riff, and then within an hour we had a completely different song. Completely different song, and
some
that
people
was
say-
My Life.
Some people say that's the best track on the
And
album.
I suppose, it was literally written an hour before the day that we were supposed to go in the studio and record the full album, and that
The
was
other song,
final.
you're not going to totally just dismiss that, are you? You're going to
No, we'd like to go back
maybe
to
for
it.
the
Definitely,
future.
yeah. It's in
We'd
the
like to go
bank.
back to
It's
it.
in
It's
the
definitely in the bank. We don't like to. If there's an idea worth putting forward, it doesn't matter how long it takes to get that idea across. We'll make it happen at some point. We don't know when that will be, but we hope that song will become of some fruition at some point within our careers. And it's just, at that time, it wasn't working, it wasn't gelling at that time, and we needed a quicker response or a quicker. We just needed something a lot sooner that was a lot more harder hitting, and My Life sort of did that.
Did that, ticked all the boxes for
Within
us.
the hour, and that happened. We're in the studio the next day for the next couple of weeks, and just recorded the whole album, and My Life was one of my personal favourites to go on there, and it took an hours for us to write. So
So, talking about any new stuff? in the pipeline after the success of the first album?
Well, we released the first one back in June.
Yeah.
And
We want to try and aim for a
Yeah.
June release again, just so
Just
it's almost
before
exactly 2 years sort of from...
And just before the festival season starts.
Pretty much.
Exactly,
pretty much,
yeah.
Sort of
Exactly
delay as
that.
we're looking at around
Exactly that.
2020 now.
Yeah.
For the next album.
So for the next year, in 2019, what we plan to do is we still want to gig as much as possible, but we don't want to gig as much as we have this year, because what we found this year was, as much as we've loved the gigging and we've got a great response from that, we haven't had much time to write.
Right.
So next year it's a case of we'll target certain gigs that are going to benefit us as a band and us as a unit.
I mean, we've got
But then we've
quite a
still also got that time for us to start really writing some good material for the second album.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, we've got quite a lot of festival slots next year.
Yeah.
Some big festivals. So
Winter's
we're
End,
Winter's
we're on
End,
that.
Planet Rock,
That's one we confirm.
Amplified as well. We've got the main stage.
Amplified.
Excellent. Yeah.
We've got a
Main
couple
stage
more
on
as
there.
well to be announced.
To be announced.
To be
Yeah,
announced.
put it that way.
To be
Yeah.
announced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put
So
it.
we're you know, we're coming to a broader audience, but at the same time we're trying to not go off the scene completely, but then just lay back and let us write out
Just write what we wanted to
what
write.
we want to do.
We felt that the first album was very rushed. As much as we've had a great response from that,
Yeah.
it's been brilliant from the day of release. It's you know, we couldn't have asked for anything more. But really, for our second album, we want to top that. You know, we've got more time to work with it.
It makes us more excited as well, because if we've rushed the first album and it's been perceived so well, if we have a bit more time,
To relax and actually think about what we're
what
doing.
will happen?
You know, it's like hopefully the second album will be a topper for the first album.
How do you sit down and write?
There's various ways.
Do you take time out specifically to write songs, or
Well, me myself, me and Miles that usually come up with the riffs as the two guitar players of the band. We'll come up with the riffs, and whether I've just sat at my home studio and just knocked out a riff and sent it over to the lads, and Miles has done the same, knocked out a couple of riffs and sent it over to us, and we've listened to it and gathered our own ideas of what that could be perceived as a whole unit, as opposed to one person's idea.
Yeah.
Well, going back to My Life, for example, Mars came up with the initial riff, but the verse riffs, you had a
Came from
very
something that-
heavy kind of chuggy, and you wanted to use it somewhere, but you think, oh, I don't know.
I'd always wanted to use that
And there
riff
it is.
somewhere, and I've had that riff knocking about for some time.
And then that's the song that just went.
It just
works.
fits together, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is a case of spur of the moment. Sometimes we can be in the lockup, just a general practice for some shows we've got coming up, and somebody will play something, and the other will go, oh, whoa. So there's something in that, right, you know. And so we'll elaborate on that, and we'll all put our 2 pence worth in, or whatever you want to call it, and it'll go from there. Other times, sometimes I'll write a whole track by myself and be like, this is sort of the idea that I want to go for, but I want the other guys to fill in the missing pieces as well. And the same for Miles, he'll write a whole track and expect us to fill in the missing pieces. So our writing style really, there's very various ways of which we'll write and come to a conclusion of a whole finished track. But ultimately, we all have our own input. So it's not just one-sided.
I mean, even with the bass lines, it's like, Rich, there's the track.
Do what you do.
Yeah.
You
Do
know,
what you do.
So I'm not going to write the bass lines for him. You know, like there's plenty of bands that do that and it works for them. But for us, it's like, hey, look, we're a unit, man. We do this together. You know, so I might have a bass line idea in my head from something that I write, and I'll put that across.
Yeah.
But then Rich might actually turn around and be like, I got a better idea. How about we do this?
9 times out of 10 he nails it.
He nails it, and it's a better idea. It's from what I previously thought in my own head from the get-go, like, you know, from day one of writing a riff or whatever. You know?
That's the beauty of technology, really. Like you say, you can record a riff while you think of it, or while you're playing at home or wherever you are. Chuck it on the phone, send it to the other guys.
Exactly that.
It's a bit harder for me, because mine, when I do a drum beat, just sounds like mush when you do it on the phone.
Yeah, it's a bit harder for him, but what we'll generally do in that respect is, say I've come up with a riff, I'll send it over to the guys. Usually I'll send it to him first so he can get a solid drum take down, an idea down, and then we'll get together in the lock-up and demo phase it, and I'll sort of play along to what he sort of put together with the previous demo that I put together. And we'll work from there, and we'll just build it until we've got almost a complete track. And the other guys have their involvement as well, where it's like, okay, we've almost got a complete track here. Like, I don't want to take the whole track myself, because the one thing that's ever really worked for Ryders Creed is all of our input works. It's never been one-sided, and that's something I don't ever want to go down. I always want everybody's input, like whether it's purely lyrical, that Ryan writes all the lyrics. Sometimes I write a few lyrics, but then Ryan might expand on those and make them even better than I originally perceived them to be.
There's no sort of, you can't do that.
No, there's not. It's
all bounce off each
our minds are really open, you know. As long as we're hitting that rock and roll criteria, and as long as we're hitting the music that we want to write, that's all that's important. You know?
Sounds good for the second album. Looking forward to it.
So we really.
What happens?
We don't know. But you know, we've got a good couple of solid
Watch
tracks.
Watch the space, as they say.
Yes.
We've got a couple of solid tracks that we're sort of proud of at the minute, but they're nowhere near finished as well at the same time. In terms of length of the tracks, they're finished, but in terms of just adding little qualities here and there, we've still got a lot of that to do.
But that's the exciting thing to look forward to.
That's exciting to look forward to. It's kind of like we've got this shadow of a track, and now it's just adding in all the other different colours and the different contexts in there to really make it what it could potentially be. You know.
Well, thanks guys for your time.
No,
Appreciate it, for all the news as well. Look forward to hearing about any more festivals that you're doing. Especially looking forward to the second album, if it's anything like the first album.
We have, if we can plug one more thing.
Go on then.
15th of December this year, we're headlining the O2 Academy 2
in Birmingham.
Based on that, we sold out the O2 3 last year, which was great.
There's a 250 capacity show, we sold that out, and this year we've bumped up to 600 capacity, which is a little bit more challenging.
And we've got a fantastic lineup.
We've got a really good lineup.
We've got Black Tree Vultures opening. With
Wicked Stone in between.
And we've not announced this yet, but we've got
officially
also
now
Dead Man's Whiskey as well as main
Dead
support.
Man's Whiskey's main support.
They played here the other night as well.
Yes.
We're very good friends with those guys.
And Wicked Stone. They don't do a 4-piece now. Wicked Stone.
Did they not? I've not seen them. You have, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm sure I saw a message.
Bands. Oh, really?
The other day that they don't do a 4-piece now, which
well,
it's news to me, but I've got confidence in those lads. You know, they all know their instruments, they all know what they're capable of, and you know, for the 15th of December,
it's going to be a cracking night.
It's going to be good.
Really
it's going to be good.
Yeah. We've got a few things going on as well in our set that we can't say.
We can't say, but there's definitely going to be some surprises.
Sure you're going to be there.
And it's going to look great and it's going to sound great.
Excellent stuff. So, talking of December, will you do us a favour?
Go on. Go on.
Yes.
Whatever's in there is yours to take with you, courtesy of Midlands Metalheads Radio.
Thank you. You're the winner.
Yes.
That's one of the first ones that's actually worked.
Yes.
What you won, kid?
It's expensive, so make sure you look after it.
You can have a proper wank now, can't you? Excuse me for the language.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Pleasure.
That's yours.
That's awesome.
Midlands Metalheads Radio live at Hard Rock Hell with two very, very happy looking Lee and Lee, the Lees.
Two Lees in the pod.
Two Lees in the pod.